Hello and welcome to the Raise Capital Legally podcast and YouTube channel, your go-to source for insights on raising capital the right way. We dive into topics that matter most to real estate syndicators and fund managers with live Q&A opportunities before we wrap up. I'm Krisha Young, your co-host and business development director at Syndication Attorneys, and joining me is attorney Kim Lisa Taylor, the founder of Syndication Attorneys. Now, before we get started, please note that audio and video from this event will be posted on our podcast platform, YouTube channel, website, and social media, and will be made available to the public. You can go ahead and ask questions at the end of this broadcast by raising your hand or typing it in the Q&A. And please note that information discussed during this event is of a general educational nature and should not be construed as legal advice. Now, today's topic is turning events into gold mines, proven strategies for working the room and following up. Please join Kim Lisa Taylor and Krisha Young as we interview David Lindahl while he shares his insider playbook for turning networking events into powerful deal-making opportunities. From mastering first impressions to building authentic connections, David reveals how to navigate a room with confidence, approach VIPs without awkwardness, and leave with partnerships that can change your business. You'll also learn his best practices for post-event follow-up that ensures your new relationships turn into real results. Whether you're attending your first conference or you're a seasoned pro, this conversation will give you the strategies you need to make every event pay off, starting with the ultimate partnering event. Hello.
Hey, Dave. Hey, thanks, Krisha.
Yeah. Hello.
Thanks for coming. So let's talk about the ultimate partnering event. That's coming up pretty imminently. I've been going and we've been sponsoring this since the very first one ever. I think that was in
way back in 2004.
New Orleans, right?
2006.
Was New Orleans the first one?
It was.
Yeah, I remember that. You actually played on the stage. Remember you had
What did you play?
I got the old band back together. I was in a rock and roll band for about 8 years when I was younger.
Fun.
Lead vocals.
Vocals. Okay,
It was
that's
a great time.
and also that was 20 years ago. Like I just learned recently that 2004 was 20 years ago. How did that happen?
Time flies when you're having fun and making money.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So we had the other thing that happened at that changed my world a little bit was I was speaking at that event for you, and you had all the speakers come together and gave us like a little prep talk. And I learned some of those things. In fact, I learned a lot of things, more than you know, at that little 20-minute talk you give us, and some of them are in my book. So I actually did a whole chapter in here, chapter 27, on how to give an effective presentation. And I gave you credit in there, Dave. I said I learned stuff from David Lindahl, and I'm on my own, but yeah, I mean, I remember things that you told us. And in fact, we just talked about that on our mastermind the other day. And I said, hey, I learned a bunch of this stuff from Dave Lindahl. He's given thousands of presentations. So it's really helpful, for us and for our clients. And so we thank you for that. Yeah.
I spent 12 years of my life on stages, and then I had kids. And I started changing diapers.
Yeah. Right.
Now they're 9 years old. It's been 9 years since I really traveled. The only stages I'm really on now is ultimate partnering and insiders, my insiders group.
Yeah.
I'll do virtual teaching, when I don't have to leave home. But ultimate partnering is, for those that don't know, is all about getting money for your deals, getting partners for your deals, getting partners for your business. And there's great education on stage, but most people come because of the great networking. And it's filled with alumni students that have been with us since we started in 2002. So they'll come back, like it's like a high school reunion. And then we got about 40% of the people are brand new. The great thing about it is, they just, all the alumni just open up their arms, to the newer people. And it's like, what can we do for you? How can we help? And it's just an awesome place to be.
Yeah, it's been an amazing event. We didn't miss it. We wouldn't even consider missing it because we see so many of our clients there. We get to see all the our mentor family, and we just make so many really great connections there. There's a ton of other vendors, so you get to learn about all the different stuff. I grab a lot of podcast guests from that event. and so that we can
Smart.
to our audience. And then we meet just such great people that, new people, people, and everybody's so excited and enthusiastic. And that, there's just so much energy in the room that, you don't want to leave. I mean, at the end of it, it's hard to get people to go.
Yeah, it is. And it's a lot of fun. Usually on the last day, there's a wedding or something coming in behind us, and everybody has to leave, and the hotel has the hardest time to get the people out.
You just crash the wedding. Just stay.
I usually hang around and see if I can get a piece of that cake.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part of weddings.
Is
Right.
I think the dates are September 26th through 28th, and it's in Dallas, right?
Yeah, yeah. September 26th to the 28th in Dallas. And we forgot to say it's a whole lot of fun. Damn, it's fun. It's a good time.
It's fun.
Excellent.
I love
So
what you said about the alumni too. We've experienced this so many times. It's just like, this is such a generous and wonderful community of people who want to teach other people what's happening and what's up and how to do things and how not to do things. So I love that you touched on that, because I've witnessed this. We witness this all the time.
The biggest comment we get from the new people that come is, I can't believe the amount of people that are doing deals in this room.
Mm, yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a good representation of the company itself. How we
well,
teach.
and
Yeah.
I tell people, like, I get approached a few times by passive investors, and they're like, "Hey, where can I go and meet syndicators and stuff?" Oh, you got to go to Ultimate Partnering, because there you're going to be able to meet the people that are actually doing the deals. You can meet them face to face. You can connect with them. You can follow up later, and just make those connections. So yeah, that's amazing. So what are the latest projects you've been working on in your education and investing business?
Well, in the middle of the market started to change. I've been saying it for a while that, like a Jiffy Pop popcorn, it was going to start to pop, 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 which it had been popping, but in the last couple of months, it's really been popping. We've got a couple of deals we think we're going to get under contract. The insiders group that I have, my mastermind group, there's several people there that are in deals now. And also they're talking about the fact that deals are starting to pencil out for the first time in a while. Hunter Thompson's a good friend of mine. He just sent out an email yesterday. My first deal in 8 months. It's just the market's starting to move. This is it. I mean, this is the ready, set, go time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also, though, unfortunately, are seeing some people that are struggling. And, so I think that there's some opportunities there, either to come in and co-invest with them before they lose the deal because they already got it. And
Hmm.
usually a lot of times they just need to get through a hump, finish some repairs, and either get the project sold or get it, up to par and ready so that they can get a refinance loan on it. So, sometimes there's opportunities even before a deal fails. And then there's also the opportunities, of course, that come after some of these deals do fail, where there's opportunities to buy them at a reduced rate from the banks. We'd love to be able to help everybody save and preserve all of their investors, but sometimes it's possible. What do you think really led to the current state that we're in right now, Dave? I know I've got some opinion.
Bridge loan financing. When bridge loan, the interest rates went less than Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and people could pencil out their deals, disregarding the fact that those loans were going to come due in 3 years. Several of my clients came to me and asked me if I partner on different deals, and I was like, "Well, you're doing bridge loan financing in this," and they're like, "Yeah, because it's less than Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Can you believe it?" And I'm like, "No, I can't believe it. Number one, because I'd never seen it before." But number two is like, that's short term. It's due in 3 years or it's due in 4 years. What if the interest rates rise? Well, they haven't risen since 2010. It's like, yeah, but what if they do? Then do you have enough value add there to cover the refi? And that's what led to it, because a lot of people get into these things and the interest rates did rise, unfortunately, and they just don't have the NOI to support the higher interest rates.
Yeah, and then this is a little bit different than what went on in 2008, 2010. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, that was the financial crisis. The thing that led to that were these, and I get caught in this as well, is the banks used to have clauses where they could change the interest rates at any time, right? Going into deals. And we had a refinance that we were 2 days before the closing, and even though we had a quote unquote rate lock, the bank changed the rate. And then there were several instances like that where deals fell out. And then you had Lehman Brothers that just collapsed, and the housing market was way overvalued. And you had the CMBS mortgages that, I think there was, I saw a report the other day that they had written three times the mortgages or the derivatives, three times the derivatives on the actual amount of mortgages or the actual amount of properties. That's how many times they resold the derivatives or the CMBS mortgages on those. And that's what led to the total collapse of that market.
It is, yeah. And I saw a lot of people, that were doing these short term, right? So the problem was they were getting caught in the short term, where their loans were due, they couldn't refinance, the property values were depressed, and then they had to go out and, just let it go, because they couldn't, they can manage getting a refinance at that time. So I always tell people, try to get a longer term, pay extra to get the fixed rate, right? That would have solved this problem that we're having right now. Don't do bridge debt if you can avoid it.
The only way to do bridge debt is if you need it, you get a property with a problem, you can't get agency debt, Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, and then fix that problem quick. And I mean, one of the best programs out there is the Fannie Mae bridge financing, where they'll actually do the bridge and then they'll do the refi into the conventional, and it costs a lot less to do it. And you're under the same umbrella, which is a great program.
Yeah, I don't know if as many people take advantage of that as they could. So and that's probably maybe working with the wrong mortgage broker that doesn't know about or understand that program and doesn't offer it.
Maybe they don't make as much.
That could be they don't make as much as if they put you into a traditional bridge, they get higher points or something. So you've got to ask about it, because if you ask and then they're obligated to tell you, but they don't necessarily have to volunteer, I guess. All
What
right.
are they specifically asking for? So if they were to go and ask for this, what's the terminology that they would be asking for?
Well, if a lender should be going out and getting term sheets. So typically they get anywhere from 4 to 7 term sheets for the loan that you present to them. And then they'll read through them and they'll give you the 2 or 3 that they think are the best. You have the opportunity to read through all 7. So it's really the relationship that you have with your broker. I've been using Eric Stewart since 2006, I think. Trust him 100%. So if you trust your broker, you're going to get the best deal. If the broker is new to you, then you might want to read all 7, and ask a bunch of questions. Or even now, what you can do is just put it into ChatGPT, AI, put in the right prompt, and it will tell you which one is the best for your particular deal.
Yeah, there's a company out there that we've done some work with called Janover, and they've created a database, AI database of like 10% of all the lenders in the US. And so if you want to sign up with them, then they'll go out and you might get 100 offers. And then if you want to pay them to represent you as a broker, then they can even act as the broker and help you sift through those, find the best one for you. So if you want to know more about Janover, go to our syndicationattorneys.com, and we have an affiliate link there on our trusted vendor page. So if you use our affiliate link, then they'll know what you're trying to do. They know who our clients are, and hopefully they'll give you some special treatment. But wow, that's there's so many things happening with AI. It's just insane. And I learned something. I gotta share this with you. So, and know this, Dave, that AI is leading us as users.
What?
AI is leading us as users. So you can ask AI, how do you rate me as a user? And I was interested because they'll give you, I'm sure there's a little bit of, backpatting out there where oh, you're the best ever.
Yeah.
But they did come back, I asked ChatGPT this, and it came back and it said, well, you're, I got a 9.7 out of 10, I'll have to say. But it said, oh, would you like the other 3.3%? I can tell you how to get it. And so things that I was doing, it's like, hey, you're good at this, but you could do this more effectively. And it even gave me like a little cheat sheet. Would you like a cheat sheet to put on your phone so when you're asking me questions, you can remember to do this? And so it was really kind of cool, but yeah, so
That's
we're all
awesome.
So be nice, right?
That prompt, what do you know about me? Have you heard of that one?
Yeah,
No, you said that, and I have been afraid to do that.
I did it.
Here's another thing I did the other day, right? And it has nothing to do with the real estate, but it's fun. And I've always been into palm reading. I've never had the time to like actually learn how to do it. So what
Oh
I
my
did
God.
is I took pictures of both of my palms and I put it in the chat GPT and I said, tell me about myself. And it nailed me. I mean, it
Really?
really nailed me. And then I was with a friend and I had him do it, right? And it nailed him too. And we're like opposite personalities. And I said to him, is that you? He says that is me.
I'm doing this now.
Yeah,
You know, we're
it was a lot of fun.
Now.
you know,
Who am
interesting.
I?
Trying to do that for a long time too. My mom used to read palms, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to learn how to do this. And I picked up a book, and it's like, oh my God, you have to remember
Takes
like,
a lot of time.
I mean, you have no idea how many things there are on your hand that say things about you. It's like, thickness and lines and, segments and how big they are. And yeah, well, it's crazy. So I'm like, well, yeah, maybe this is a better way. Right? Just let AI do it.
Uh-huh.
I love it. I love it.
All right. So, how do you think that networking strategies in real estate have evolved over the last decade? And if so, how do you think that's what's happening
I
now?
think the biggest involvement has been the fact that social media can 10x your networking strategy simply by putting content out there. With that content out there, people will watch it, they'll learn to trust you, they'll get to know you, and then they'll come to you. Because you'll be talking about the fact that you do deals, and then eventually people will come and go on your list. It's the easiest way now to build your list is to be a content generator.
Yeah, and when you're talking content generator, we're not talking about sales pitches all the time, right? We're talking about
Oh yeah.
education.
Oh yeah, we're talking about education. Yeah,
Yeah.
you become a trusted educator.
Yes.
Somebody where somebody can go to, and the whole idea is when somebody leaves an information platform that you were on, like whether it be a YouTube or a blog or whatever, they leave there thinking that was good stuff, and then they want to go back and get more good stuff when they see you pop up again.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You've got to be able to give good content, and that's how we've built our business over the years. Is just generating content, and a lot of it just comes from the questions people are asking you. So if you're talking to a prospective investor and they're asking you a question, other investors have that question, they just didn't know to ask it. So turn it into a little blog, turn it into an FAQ, something that you can publish, put on your website, and maybe send out to your list in your next newsletter, and just share those nuggets with them. You don't want to identify the person that asked, but you can say, hey, we've been getting asked this question, and here's the answer. That's we've built a database of several hundred FAQs that way, that exact
Oh,
way.
nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's pretty good. And, it doesn't matter if you already answered the FAQ, the same FAQ a different, last time, because you're going to answer it in a different way. You're going to frame it in a different question. It might resonate with somebody differently than the previous one. So you just keep, putting the information out there and, making sure it's good and relevant. And people will
No,
start.
you can prompt the AIs to give you what people are searching for. What questions are people searching for regarding this topic, and then you get a list of them and you answer those questions.
Yeah. Just make sure you read and edit every single thing that AI gives you. Because like when we do AI summaries of our Zoom calls, it often says exactly the opposite of what I said. It'll say, "Oh, Kim said to do this," and I'm like, "No, I said not to do that." So you be careful what you get from AI. It's it's like 90% there, but that 10% could be really, really bad.
There's
It
got to be
often,
a human involved
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
be a human, but you also have to know the right questions. And you could probably even ask AI, what questions should I be asking? So
Well,
it's
that's a
the
really good point because at the end of every prompt, where you're going in and telling it to act as it, and this is what I'm looking for, and then you go through all the context, and then at the very end, you should be saying, what questions do you need from me in order to give me the best result? And then they'll give you a list of like 10, 15 questions, which are great. And then what I do is, and then I say, before you do not start to answer until I give you the next prompt after they answer that one. And then because I don't want them to start going into the answer, because then I want to ask them, what's the best way to prompt you for this information so I can get the best answer? So now I've just asked that question twice for two different information points, but I get, really good results. So that's the whole idea behind these AIs is if you know how to prompt them properly, garbage in, garbage out. That's what they say about underwriting. Same thing about AI.
Well,
Mhm.
and sometimes just adding one extra word can get you the result you want versus the one you don't. And a perfect example of this, and we've had this happen multiple times, is we're using a lot of series LLCs for people that are replicating their model over and over again. And what we do is we create a master PPM, and then every time they do a deal, they just create a series for that deal and just talking about the stuff that's related to that deal. It just becomes cheaper, shorter, faster for us to be able to do that for them. And but series LLCs aren't recognized in every state. So people will, in whatever state they live in, they'll ask the question, can I do this in my state? And the answer is, no, you can't, because your state doesn't recognize it. But the right question would have been, how can I use this in my state? Because then AI would have come back and said, oh, well, you have to form it in a state that recognizes series LLCs. And then you're going to use a title holding entity in the state where the property is located. The series is just going to own it. And that's, exactly how it works. So yeah, so just asking, how can I do something versus can I do something is going to get you a very different answer.
Kim, that is the secret to a successful life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Think about it, right? It's not how can I, not can I do it or can't I, yes or no. It's like, how can I do it to help me figure it out and then
Yeah.
do it. Love it. I love it. That was great. Okay, so what mindset shift is needed to scale from a handful of units into thousands?
it's the belief. It's the belief that you can do it. It's the belief that people are going to invest with you. It's the whole belief system. I've been educating since 2002, right? And I tell people all the time, and at the beginning of my courses or boot camps, it's like, if you believe you can do it, you will. If you don't believe you can do it, you won't. It's that simple shift. And I tell them, you got to realize that things are difficult. It's like running a marathon or, doing something that's going to take a long time to do, where you're going to run into problems. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's work. There's going to be problems. You just got to be determined that you're going to get through the problem. No matter what problem comes up, you're going to get through it. And once you change that mindset, and that usually goes to limited beliefs. Everybody has a set of limited beliefs, right? And you've got to figure out what they are. AIs can help you with that as well. You could prompt it as to, I'm trying to discover what my limiting beliefs are. Give me a series of questions so you can help me determine them, right? And then you go through that, and then at the end you say, how do I overcome these limiting beliefs? And now you've got, a step-by-step process. First of all, most people have blind spots, so you don't know what your limiting beliefs are because you have this blind spot. And if you've got honest friends, you can go to them and say, hey, what are my blind spots? What don't I know about myself? Or be honest with me. Tell me about myself. There's this other thing called the 360 review. Have you ever done one?
No.
A 360 is actually a professional will come in, somebody knows how to run it, and they will talk to like your 5 to 10 closest friends or closest employees or people that you work with, and then they'll give you a series of questions, and then they'll come back and they'll tell you about yourself, and then that's where all your blind spots are. I had everybody in the office do it here 2 years ago. Everybody got a 360, which was great. A lot of things popped up that people were just shocked about, and like, that's not me, right? And then everybody say, oh yes, it is. You know?
Yep.
And so did it change the way that your staff interacted with each other after that?
Yes, it changed the way we communicated with each other.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can see
And
that.
we could go to everybody's 360 and just say, this is either this is happening again, right? And what do we need to do to change it? So it solved a lot of problems because everybody was really open with each other, more open than
Yeah.
before.
And
But to
aware.
get back to your question, it is those limiting beliefs that's the mindset shift that people need to take. You got to do the hard work. You've got to confront them, and people that aren't willing to do the hard work, what do they call that? Victim mentality, right? Victim mentality. Those are the people that always believe that, things aren't going to happen for them. And when they don't happen for them, it's not their fault. It's always somebody else's fault, right? Those are the people that have big blind spots, and have big limiting beliefs. So
Mhm.
again, the answer to the question is find out what your limiting beliefs are. Once you understand them and once you work them out, the whole world changes. If you've ever wondered how to reach your potential, that's how you reach your full potential.
It's true. This is it. This is the word. Yeah.
Well, and Krisha knows a bit about this. She has a mindset coaching program in her own right that she does, and I've seen her do some amazing things with people just because of that, right? With the limiting beliefs, or just kind of changing your mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been coaching people on this for like 15 years now, and everything you say is so true, you know. And I mean, some terminology is like shadow work, right? Like what you're talking about, when these blind spots, when people don't want to look at it, it's called shadow work, right? And it's like, because it's in the shadows, we can't see it. And so often having that reflection back, if you have a growth mindset, then you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that. And it's hard to process through that, but allowing that to be there and just being like, okay, tell me more about this. How am I like this? And then working through and processing through the patterns that got you there, and making that mindset shift is what makes all the difference in the world, from going from a victim mindset into something that's more empowering. Yeah. And somatic work is a big part of it too. So like getting into the nervous system and working your body and your nervous system around, like tying the mindset and the body together, is really the key in order to make big changes.
Does that involve tapping?
Tapping is a form. Yep. Yeah. There's a lot like somatic, like breath work, movement, anything to do with your nervous system. Tapping is definitely a nervous system retrains your nervous system. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And Chris has a book that's going to be coming out about this within the next few months. She's close. She's getting closer. So we're all going to be excited to see that.
What's the title?
Pardon me?
What's the title of the book?
It's called The Gracious No. So I started to realize that a lot of the issues that were occurring in my clients' lives had to do with people pleasing, the disease to please, right? And then underneath that is what we're talking about here, is these patterns, you know, and how they play out. But the book specifically is about how to overcome the disease to please, and but looking at it from this psycho-spiritual somatic perspective.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'll look for it.
Yeah. All right. So back to you, Dave. How does someone go about identifying and choosing the right partners?
I've been through good partnerships. I've been through bad partnerships. I've got a list of 15 integrity questions that I go through, and I'm looking for, the answers. If somebody is constantly blaming other people or blaming other things, or they're not being truthful. I mean, one of the questions, if I'm looking for a partner that has some real estate experience, and I'll ask them, tell me about, a bad deal that you've done. And if they say they've been in real estate for any length of time and I haven't done a bad deal or a difficult deal, then they're probably lying, because, as you know, anybody that's been in real estate for any length of time has had a difficult deal. They usually come at the very beginning.
Yes.
They're there. And then when they do talk about one, it says, how did you handle it? And then you listen for, are they blaming other people, for the bad deal? Or did they learn a lesson and then change going forward, learn that lesson and move forward? So I really listen in between the lines when I'm asking questions for partners. And here's a very simple thing, right? You're looking like at ultimate partnering. You find somebody and you think they're, a good partner, go out to dinner with them, right? See how they treat the waiter or the waitress. That's got a good indication on their integrity, how they treat people, and their true values. So you're always observing.
Yes.
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 I so agree with that.
Yeah. Somebody who's not nice. I saw the sticker one time that said someone who isn't nice to the waiter isn't a nice person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually dated somebody like that for a while, and it's like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. I didn't want to go out with them. I didn't want to go anywhere. I knew they were going to be abusive to people. It's like, yeah, let that one go.
And it's only a matter of time that they turn that on you. So no thanks.
That's a Krishna client.
Yeah. 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 Well, I don't know that I want to work with somebody like that.
Just how rewarding it would be when you help them to change themselves.
Yeah, if they don't blame me for all the problems.
When it didn't work, they blame you for when it didn't work out.
But I love this integrity questions and the red flags, like it's like dating, right? Like you're kind of looking to see like how do they treat other people, and how do they respond to life? How are they responding to life?
So I actually did write a book just recently, but I have not promoted it at all. And I wrote it under a pseudonym because I didn't, it was all about my, like all my ex relationships before I met my current husband. And so I didn't want to embarrass any of those,
Really?
correct any of those. So it's called Dating for Adults. And it's like how to spot red flags and find long-term compatibility. It's on Amazon. You can all buy it. Probably nobody's bought it yet. But it's
What's your student? What's your what do they call it? Pen name?
Elaine Broadington. It was just a name I made up. Elaine Broadington. So Dating for Adults, and it's just
Awesome.
hey, and one of them was talking about, hey, people are not nice to the waiter, it's only a matter of time before they turn it on you. So, you
That
know,
must have been a very therapeutic write for you. Writing
yeah.
a book.
Well, I joined this publishing program and they said, hey, write a book in a week. And I'd started writing it like, 15 years ago. And I'm like, hey, I got one already halfway done. I'll just finish it, and
Oh,
I just put it out there. What the heck? Somebody benefits from it. That's great. Someday I might promote it. All right. So, boy, we've really gone some great circles.
yeah. We've gone off real estate a couple of times.
Wait, what were we talking about again? Ultimate partnering
So
and
you
how to
do,
form relationships there. I mean, I think this is all related though.
It
all
is.
right. Dave, how do you identify opportunities before they become obvious to everybody else?
I am just a consumer of information. So I'm constantly reading, listening, and then I'm taking action. And I hear something and it will be like a spark to get information somewhere else. So I'm always looking at information as a resource to get other information. And I build on it. I don't listen to music in my car. I listen to stuff. I listen to information. It might sound weird, but I'm a consumer. Even, when TikTok came out and I started watching TikTok and everybody thought I was crazy. This is like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I was like, TikTok's just not about crazy people dancing. There's really good information on TikTok, especially when they get your algorithm down. You get really good stuff. So, I mean, it comes in very short form. But yeah, that's what I typically do. I mean, the world now is so full of content. Now you have to be you selective on where you get it, and but I'm just continuously filling myself with information.
Yeah, and you have to be careful to make sure that what you are getting is real and not somebody's manufactured version of something that is deliberately misinforming you.
Yep.
So always be cautious about that. All right, so what are some overlooked asset types and deal structures that you're seeing right now?
The big overlooked asset right now is RV parks, which we started to roll up and started buying them about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it only came about because I started taking my kids camping and I took them to a Jellystone park. It's a yogi themed park. And being a real estate guy, I just kept noticing all of the different cash flows that they were getting from this park. And I was happy to pay all those cash flows because it made my kids happy. They weren't gouging me. But I thought, man, they must be making a fortune. So I started looking deeper into it. And then there was a park that I thought maybe I'll buy a park. It was about an hour from my house. And so I had booked it and they picked up the phone. They said Jellystone. And I was like, oh, I said, did Jellystone just buy this park? Because that's a franchise. And she says, yes. And I said, I go to the one up in New Hampshire in North Conway. And she said, oh, yeah, we own that one too. I said, oh, well, how many do you guys own? And she said, 28. And I said 28, and I thought proof of concept right there, right? They weren't all Jellystones. They owned some Jellystone franchises, then some independent. They were into some KOAs as well. And I thought that is proof of concept if somebody owns 28 of them. And then we started buying them, and it's true, they're cash cows. RV parks are cash cows. Even the ones that up here in the north that are closed 6 months out of the year, they're still in season. The cash that you generate during the season covers you for the entire year. They're good, really good. And it's
Yeah.
it's one of these things where I don't want to own RV parks for the rest of my life, but I'm going to roll them up and I'm going to sell them to there's large corporations in now. Starwood's in, Berkshire Hathaway is in, starting to do their own roll-ups. So if you do like a certain size, basically the size is it's 150 lots, it's 35 plus acres, and have some sort of a water source. If you meet those three criterias and you have a bunch of them, Starwood or Berkshire Hathaway will buy that portfolio from you. So that's our goal there.
And I wanted to tell you where you could learn more about Dave's RV park program. So in June, we did an event. Vinky Loomba, who's another client, and I, and Dave was one of our sponsors. And it was called Go Beyond Multifamily. You can still go there. All of the sponsors that had offers at that event are still posted. Everybody can look at them. So go to gobeyondmultifamily.com, gobeyondmultifamily.com, and you can see Dave's RV park presentation. And if you want to see any of the other, great guests that we had for 2 days, it was so action packed. Then you can buy our, I think it's $97 to get access to all of the interviews. But I know that all the sponsor interviews are available and all the offers that were made are available to everybody to look at. So go beyond multifamily.com, check that out. Check out Dave's RV park program. It was an awesome interview. And I think you'll be interested to hear what Dave has to say about RV parks in detail. So thanks for that, Dave. All right. So if you go to an event, can you share what your recommended step-by-step approach for someone to work a room?
Well, here's the deal. The problem with me is I'm an introvert, so I don't like talking to people I don't know. It seems strange, people see me on stage, but I really don't. So I've got like different techniques that I'll use. Like for instance, if a group is already formed, I never try to get into a group, but I'll look for like individuals to pick off. I will go into the room early, and get to a seat, and I'll strategically place myself between people or around people because that's a seated area, and I'll talk to those people. I never sit in the same place twice. But then during the times where people are outside in the hall, I'm looking for people that are walking over to the coffee by themselves. I'm looking for people that got there early. And that way I can get them on a one-on-one instead of feeling the awkwardness of trying to get into a group. The other thing I do, and this came off of the top of my head when I was in Europe at a family offers conference like 5 years ago. And when I say I'm an introvert, I am so introverted that I have to talk myself out of getting out of the hotel room to go down and network, right? And sometimes I don't even do that, So I was in Europe and it was like a day and a half into the event and I really hadn't gone to the event, And so I'm thinking to myself, I gotta go. I spent all this money to go to Europe, meet these wealthy family offices from Europe. I gotta talk to somebody. So I forced myself to go at the very end of the day to the open session there during the break. And I was like in desperation, I said to this guy, my goal is to meet one person during this break. Would you be willing to be that one person? And then he lit up, a big smile on his face, said, absolutely, I'm Heinrich and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow, that was really easy. So that's like my go-to line now. Every time, I'm out, my goal is just to meet one person. Would you be that one person? And it works. And then I go to another person. I'll say the same thing during a break. I'll do that as many times as I can, but it's the easiest opening line that I've found.
It's so
Well, the thing is, everybody else is in this, they feel just as awkward as you do. So as soon as you recognize that they're just as uncomfortable as you are, then all of a sudden they're like happy that you've talked to them. They're grateful that you've talked to them. And now it's like you're not imposing, you're actually doing them a favor. And all of a sudden now those connections are made because they're like, oh, thank you for talking to me. But I'm the same way as you. I'm a complete introvert. You wouldn't know it from talking to me. I can talk to people in front of a room on Zoom all day long, but send me to a networking event where I'm supposed to go out and gather contact information. I'll stand in the corner and be on my phone. And so my husband is really great at it. He'll just walk up, kind of insert himself into a group, stick out his hand. Hi, I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. What are you going to do? Strikes up a conversation. He's really good at it. So I try to emulate him, but it's hard. It is very hard to do that.
So another thing I started doing too was, you go to a family office event or other different events, and the person that you're talking to isn't interested in multifamily, and you realize that, and you're not a match, right? But I started really listening and taking notes on what the other person was, and I would even take their card and write it down on what they did, because if I found somebody else in that group that was looking for that, I'd put the two together. And that would create a symmetry where those people would now be looking for people that match my criteria without me even asking, and I would I'd get a call from them saying, hey, you might want to talk to this guy because, and that works out really well as well.
Yeah, that rule of reciprocation, right? You do something for somebody, they feel like they want to do something for you.
Yep.
And And whether it's at the event or later on, they're going to remember, hey, this guy connected me. Let me, connect him with this other person, and now you've got these great connections. So the other thing I think that people, used to do, I don't think it's as prevalent anymore because a lot of people are getting away from business cards. But for the longest time, business cards was the thing. And, we used to kind of mistakenly believe that our goal was to go and hand out all the business cards we could. And it's actually the opposite. Your goal is to go and collect all the business cards you can, but then what you do with them afterwards is key, because for years, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people listening to us right now that have them sitting in a drawer, right? And for years I did that too. But you can't do that. You've got to actually, get them into your contact database, get out some follow-up information to them, start calling them back, start scheduling calls, and see where your synergy lies. And it may not just be, hey, I'm only looking for passive investors, because you're not. You're syndicating properties. You're looking for people who have deals. You're looking for people that know people with money. You're looking for people that can help guarantee loans, and you're looking for passive investors, but you're also looking for people to be on your management team that can help put up all the management funds needed to get the deal to the closing table, as well as do all the jobs that are necessary to get the deal to the closing table. So you've got a lot of jobs to fill in your company. And if you start approaching people like that, you're going to realize that you're talking to them and kind of interviewing them about where they might fit in your organization. And it's not just one place. So I think that's important to
Yeah,
realize.
and here's a key too. Are you familiar with the McKay 66, Ira McKay's book,
No.
How to Swim? He's an old timer. He wrote the book How to Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive. Never trust what was it? What They Don't Teach You in Harvard Business School. And books like that. But he owned an envelope company, and it became huge. And basically because he made all these different contacts, and he had a list of 66 pieces of information that he tried to get from every contact, not all at once, but piece by piece. And he would always use that. So when he like followed up, he would use a piece of the information that didn't involve the business that they were in, so that that person would feel special. So I started doing that, and that works really, really well. So those business cards, when somebody says, "Go, can you bump me?" and I'm like, "Oh, they don't get a business card," because what I do is I try to find out information, then I'll write it on the back of their business card, and then that's how I'll follow up. So here's an interesting follow-up to that story. So way back in 2010, during the 2008 financial crisis, the aftermath of that, maybe 2009, the Bush government actually invited about, I don't know, 15 of us people that at one time I was on Fannie Mae's largest lender list. I was one of the top 10 lenders on Fannie Mae. So because of that, they invited me and a bunch of other guys to Park City, Utah. It was the Department of Labor. And they wanted to figure out how they knew they couldn't prevent a commercial real estate crash, but they wanted to know how they could potentially soften it. So it was like a group think. And when I was walking into the room, I looked and there was Harvey McKay. And I was like, Harvey McKay, I've read all of your books. And we started talking. He was a really nice guy. And sure enough, like 3 days later, he does a follow-up and he hits like certain points. My dog, my dog's name, all these different things. I'm like, wow, he does it. He's a man of his word.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's valuable information for all of us. So when you're at the Ultimate Partnering event, then you need to go out and collect as much contact information as you have. And then you need to have an investor marketing plan for how you're going to follow up with them. And that's something that we offer our clients. We have a free investor marketing plan that we give to all of our pre-syndication clients. So we have a pre-syndication program. You can join us and get on our weekly masterminds. You can get a bunch of templates from us, but one of the ones is this investor marketing plan that you can sit down with your team and say, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Who's going to be at the event? What are you going to do at the event? How are you going to follow up? What kind of materials do we need to be able to send to people later on? Do we need a newsletter? Do we need brochures to take to the event? What is it that we're going to do to keep in contact with these people, make meaningful connections, invite them to a webinar, teach them about who we are, what we do, all that stuff. You've got to plan that out. If you don't plan it out in advance, you're going to bring home that contact information. It's going to sit in your computer or sit in a drawer, and you're not going to get what you needed out of that event. So, make a plan before you go, know what you're going to do, be prepared to, get in contact with everybody that you've met and,
Have a system
yeah, have a system.
Hmm.
and
So
personalize it.
Yeah.
let's go ahead. I'm going to get the link here out, just typing it in right now so that you can use our affiliate link to go to UP and,
Yeah. And we gave you a $200 off coupon code.
Nice.
It was 100. We increased it to 200 for you, Kim.
That's so awesome, David. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I put the event link in there already, so we need a coupon code.
Oh, Kim, do you have your coupon code? I think it's your name.
yeah, yeah.
In your affiliate package.
Nice.
Make sure you use our affiliate link. Use this one right here.
Okay.
In the https m160.is/go/up20/K-Taylor, and the coupon code is Taylor. So use that. And also, I know that there's a room block that's going to be expiring pretty soon. And so if you want to do it, I would suggest you do it today and get in there and get that room block ASAP, because that's going to go away and then the rates go up. And we've seen them go up like 2 or 3 times. Or we actually had a situation last year where, one of the main sponsors, Bob Bowman, some of you guys might know Bob, he couldn't even get a room. And so if you don't want to be in another hotel somewhere and miss out on the action, then get your room right away and get signed up so that you guys can all be there. And I trust you, trust us. It's going to be a really valuable event for you. You're going to make some great connections and you're going to know now how to work the room. And Dave, I have to tell you that we were kind of late in scheduling this. Usually we schedule these things a couple weeks out, but you said, hey, let's just do it this Thursday. And so we got out our notice, but I don't think we were able to send out the notice until like yesterday afternoon, but we still got like record attendees on the call. So, thank you for paying attention to your notices and showing up today for Dave. It's super important that, we can share all this information with you. And Dave, thanks so much for coming so that people can get it. So let's see, do we have any questions, Krisha?
Yeah, we've got just a couple here, but we do have a lot of attendees, so this is amazing. All right, so Jose said, I met someone and I wanted to see if UP would be a good event for them to attend. They work with developers by creating architectural models slash photorealistic renderings and VR experiences to help showcase their upcoming properties, and then also provide a platform to manage interested people all the way through the sale process.
They would,
Architect?
how it would benefit them if there are developers at the site, which there are. We've got people, the majority of the people are buying value add multifamily, but there are developers there as well, like Jay Durer. He does development. So there could be some benefits there for him. Yes.
I talk to people all the time too on sales like business development calls that are doing development projects. There's a lot.
The development clients right now, and we do get a lot.
Mhm.
So, all right.
Yes, Ramon, we will be sharing the recording. This is being recorded. I've triple checked. Sometimes we miss that. And what are the questions, or would it be easier to ask ChatGPT? Ramon, can you give us a little more context on that one? I'm not sure what you were referring to there. That's it for the questions so far. Does anybody have any questions?
If you want an experience on ChatGPT, it's got all these little, I don't know if they're called agents or they're kind of like mini apps within ChatGPT. And I just discovered some of them the other day, but there's this one called Monday. I'm sure there's a name for them. But Monday is like totally sarcastic, and their little description of it says it may not like you and you may not like it. Asking a question, it's going to give you like a super sarcastic response. I only did it once. I didn't have the courage to do it again. But it is kind of fun. If you like that stuff, go for it. So here's a question from Ramon, right? David asked to find a good-hearted person, same as I've been searching for. Yeah, well, you do. You have to find people that are high integrity if you want to partner with them. And not just even in your passive investors, right? You want to get to know them well enough to know that they are also high integrity people, because not everybody is. And there's some people that might look to sabotage you, take over your deal, just create problems just because that's their nature. And you don't want those people in your deals because they're going to really make your life.
I can give you the rule of thumb on that. The person that puts in the least amount of money in your deal is going to be the biggest pain in the ass in your deal.
Yeah.
So have high minimums.
Yeah, yeah. And keep in touch with your investors. Have a communication plan, right? I've had so many clients that have just gotten in trouble because they failed to communicate, and there were problems at the property, and I quote you all the time on this one, Dave. I learned at the first multi-millions boot camp that I ever went to, you said, if you have a problem and you don't tell anybody, it's your problem. If you have a problem and you tell everybody, it's everybody's problem. And I constantly quote you on that one.
Yeah.
It's
Whenever
um,
there's a problem, over communicate, because people appreciate that. Number one, they feel like they can get input to help with the problem. Um, and it goes a lot easier. I mean, if you hide a problem, that's what people do. They think they can fix the problem, but it gets worse and it gets worse. And by the time they tell, then people are really pissed off.
Mhm.
exactly. And I had that situation just this last week with someone who said, oh, well, this thing's going on. And I'm like, hey, when did this start? And they said, oh, last August. And I'm like, you should have been telling people about it then. They're like, yeah, now what do we do? And I said, well, you can tell people, but you don't be surprised if you get some negative reactions, because they're going to say, why didn't you tell us before? We might have made some different decisions with the property then. Well, we thought we were going to resolve it. Well, you didn't. And now what?
Yeah.
So
Those are lessons from the trenches, because everybody goes through the beginning periods, but if you can just listen to people that have been gone through the beginning periods and are willing to honestly tell you about it, like the reason I know to over communicate is because I didn't communicate on a deal that had a problem, and boy, did that become a problem, And then I learned that over communicate on a problem. There's so many different things you learn on deals, but if you can learn from other people before you make the mistake, you're much better off.
Mhm.
yeah, and there's even this kind of mindset, well, we'll just put our own money into the deal. Don't ever do that. Never ever do that. Because if oh, we'll just fix it with our money. You need to go communicate it to your investors first. Give them the opportunity to put in that money, because they might want to. And especially if you're going to offer a different deal than what everybody else invested with, and now all of a sudden it's better terms for them, you might get some takers on that as well. So, we've always got to look at your operating agreement to see what's allowed, whether or not you got to offer first right of refusal to everybody else. The manager always has the right to loan money to the deal. But if you keep loaning money to the deal, and eventually, you're like, hey, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. We're just going to sell it at a loss. Now the investors are going to be upset. Why didn't we know? Why didn't you tell us what was going on? What gave you the right to give all this money to the deal? And now you're going to get paid back first before us. That doesn't sound fair to them. So you should tell them up front, hey, we need this much money. We can loan it, but if we do, here's how it's going to work out. Or if you guys want to put up the money, then you can put up the money. So,
And there's one big caveat to that as well. And if all of those investors are not accredited, you've got an even bigger problem,
Mm.
because that's
yeah.
when you get sued by the sophisticated and I call them man on the street investors.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but we do have a lot of clients that have a lot of non-accredited investors in their deal, and as long as they keep them informed, they're no different than any else. They just want to know what's going on, and they understand that not every deal is going to work out. And if you explain to them, hey, this is what's happening, here's all the things we're trying to do to fix it, and you keep them apprised every time you try to do one of those things, whether it works or not, they at least know you're working hard for them and you're really trying. And they're not going to sue you. They're not going to fault you as long as they see that you've been taking as much proactive action as you can to try to help them. And, and then sometimes there's just nothing that can be helped. But if you wait until the end and like, okay, hey, we were letting the property go back to the bank, and they're like, whoa, what happened? What's going on? Why didn't you tell us this a long time ago? Don't get in that situation. And if there is anybody out there that needs help kind of trying to brainstorm a workout or whatever, call us and schedule a call. You know, we're happy to talk to you, try to help you figure it out. Maybe we even know people that might be able to help solve the problem. Or we can at least look at what you got, see what you have to do, help you work through the steps and figure out a plan. You know, so do that. All right, so let's see, we've got any other questions, Krisha?
There's a couple little comments here, and I just want to say, like, just looping back to our mindset conversation earlier too, like some of this fear of like it's fear of confrontation, it's fear that lives inside of us, right? Like not wanting to look stupid, or the shame that comes up of making mistakes or whatever, right? So sometimes there's deeper things at play here. Why people don't communicate. Dave said, I'm blown away by all the golden nuggets you all have shared today. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Let me move that screen away. And I don't know if we really touched on this very much, but I think we did a little bit. Ramon was just clarifying his question about what are the clarifying questions you asked, David, about how to find the good people. And then it looks like there might be an issue with rvparkriches.com.
Really?
Your ClickFunnels isn't quite working. They can't enter the contact information.
I'm gonna go there right now.
Or
I'm gonna get on that right
I haven't
now.
tested it myself yet. And then for anybody on here live, I put my email address. It's krisha@syndicationattorneys.com if you want to speak with us, you know, more about what we've been talking about here today.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Kim. I'll send you over. I've got 2 special reports. One of them is the 15 questions that I use, and the other one is how to do a background check on a potential partner. So I'll send them over to you. You can disperse them out to anybody that wants them. And for those that sign up for Ultimate Partnering, take those with you to Ultimate Partnering, and you will be able to vet out your partners. You'll find the good ones easy.
Well, and thanks so much for agreeing to share that list, Dave. That's going to be huge. I'm gonna share that for sure. But I do want to tell you guys that you can get background checks, bad actor and background checks done at our website. So we don't do them, but we have set up an affiliate group with another group that will do them for our clients, and we actually even require now, just because we've had some bad apples try to slip through. And we now require, if you come to us to do a syndicate, we are going to require that every member of your management team undergoes a bad actor and a background check. And we're doing that to protect you from each other as much as we can. And what we learned, and when we started requiring this a couple of years ago, is that the people that know they're bad actors, they'll bow out. And that's good. You want them to. Right. So they'll be like, oh, no, I'm never going to pass that. So I'll just get out of here. I'm not going to do the deal. They'll come up with an excuse. That's all right. Let them go. The people that stay in the deal, they know they're clean. They're not afraid to do a bad actor or background check. We don't share it with the group, but what we do is if somebody comes back with a bad report, then we're going to talk to them and say, okay, here, this is an issue. Either you can't do it, and most of the time that's not the case. It's most of the time is you can do it, but you're going to have to disclose it. So you now have to talk to all the other members of the management team and let them know we're going to have to put this in the risk section of our document that I've got this pending litigation, or I have this past judgment, or whatever it is that is one of those disclosable items. Because if you hide it and you don't tell people about all these things that might affect their investment decision, then you're committing fraud by omission, which is illegal under securities laws. So you're really required to do that. So, you know, use that at our website. There's a Get Verified page at syndicationattorneys.com. Go there, let people do their own bad actor checks. It's like $125 and they pay their own. It comes to us. So if you're one of our clients, then we're going to counsel them, or it goes to them and then you can ask them to provide it to you. But they do have to do their own, because they're going to put in sensitive information about themselves, date of birth, social security, all that. You don't want to hold on to that. So, all right, 2 last minutes here. Any last minute nuggets you want to share, Dave?
She's caught me off guard. I think everybody should do that palm reading trick.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I love that.
Have some fun at it. Have some fun at your next gathering.
Yeah,
That would be
definitely doing that.
yes. That's like
By the
one of
way,
my,
I'll give you a nugget. If you do go to Ultimate Partnering, there's pre-registration on the Thursday night before. There's a lot of great networking at that pre-registration, so you wanna be there for that.
that's something good to know. Yeah, for sure. Get there early enough. You can do that. You can network before, if you want to stay a little after. Usually a lot of people clear out, but there's a handful of people that hang out afterwards, and you can still network even after the event in person. But anyway, make some connections, follow up, have a plan before you go on how to follow up. If any of you are our pre-syndication clients, please schedule a call right away with us before you go to the event. Krisha can walk you through that investor marketing plan that we have. If you have questions about it, something that you and your team can do in an hour or two. Doesn't have to be super detailed. It's a 4-page document with help text. It tells you what to put in there and can make it easier for you. You use whatever services you have. If you're not a pre-syndication client of our firm, go check out our website, syndicationattorneys.com. We do have a capital raisers master talk about our different pre-syndication programs that we have. And we'd love to have you all as clients and help you go from where you are right now to where you want to be. And I know Dave's also committed to that with the different programs he offers. So I encourage you to get involved with his group as well.
Yeah. Wow. What a podcast.
This was great stuff.
So good. And the
Fun.
dates are September 26 to 28, right?
Correct.
2025.
Yep.
Just to be clear.
Pretty soon. Coming up.
Pretty
Okay.
soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Great to meet with you guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care, everybody out there.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, David.
Bye-bye. Thank you.